The turnaround in a 12-bar blues is one of the places you can put your own individual stamp on a song. What we're going to do is we're going to look at 10 different turnarounds. And in reality, it's like 3 or 4. But we're going to show you how you can vary these things to make them actually sound pretty interesting and give a little variety to what you're doing. You're also going to find that you don't have to play the same thing all the time. You don't even have to play the same turnaround as another guitar player that you're playing with. We have a little bit of freedom in what we do with this, and that's what we're looking at today. But first, let's play. I'm Mark Wein from Jack's Guitar Tracks. If you look in the video description below, you're going to find links to a PDF that has the transcription of this lesson, as well as a 43-page booklet on how to play blues guitar. It's all free, and it has a lot of the licks that I played in the playing example here on the rhythm guitar, top and bottom parts. There's also links to a lot of social media stuff, a lot of listening of people that play this style of music, really good examples, and also don't forget to subscribe. Before we get too deep into the lesson, I do want to remind you that the turnaround is usually the last 2 measures of a 12-bar blues chord progression. And if you look in the PDF, there's going to be examples of what the blues chord progression looks like, and also where you would place the turnaround. The turnaround typically ends on a 5 chord, and that 5 chord wants us to, or makes us feel like we want to go back to the top of the form. You can actually turn any turnaround into an ending by, instead of going to the 5 chord, go back to the 1 chord. So if you're in the key of A, instead of hitting an E chord, you would hit an A chord. In the key of E, which is what this lesson is mostly about, instead of hitting the B7 chord, just lead into an E chord and then you're done. It actually gives us no forward motion, no need to keep going. So that's what gives us a nice final ending. All of these start on the second beat of the 11th measure of a blues. We don't start on beat 1. And actually getting this in time is one of the hardest things a lot of my students have in the very beginning, because they just want to play on the first beat. So 1, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. If you have difficulty with that, or even if you just like the sound of it, you can always play the 6th string. And that will actually make it sit in time a little bit easier. Either of those is fine. So in the case of this first one, we're on the 4th fret, we're actually playing what we call 6th, an interval of a 6th. We've got the note on the 4th fret on the 3rd string and the 4th fret on the 1st string. Notice the fingers I'm using? This makes it really easy, because when I get down to the 1st fret, I'm actually just using my 1st finger there, and it just actually fits the hand really nice. So 1, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1, 2 triplet, 3, and then into a B7 chord. That's there in the tablature. The second one is the same chord shape, or the same note shape. We're not playing that triplet rhythm though. We're going 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. It's the same thing, just a little different rhythmically. The third one, we're going to kind of combine those things, but we're going to put in a little bit of a crunchy sound. We're going to go 1, 2 triplet, and then on this one, it's the open 1st string, and then the 3rd fret on the 3rd string. It's what we call a tritone. It's really dissonant, but it's nice because we just pass through it. Back to the 2nd fret on both strings, and then we've got our 1st string open, 3rd string 1st fret, and that's out of that E chord, and then we walk back up into the B7 chord. Number 4, we're actually going to take a look at this as a 8th note thing. The interesting thing here is that we're playing the E, the root, on the 2nd string on the 5th fret. And then we've got this chromatic line descending down. If you notice, most of these turnarounds have some sort of chromatic downward movement. Not all of them will, but that's a big part of actually heading down towards the 5 chord and actually creating this feeling that we need to turn the form around and go back to the beginning. So we've got the 5th fret on the 2nd string. We got the 5th fret on the 5th string. This happens to be the 7th note of the scale, the minor 7th. And we just bring it down chromatically on the same string until we get to the 5. And then we walk it up like we're doing all of these. And all of these you can go if you wanted to, or you can do whatever you need to do rhythmically to make it fit with whatever the drummer is playing. Number 5, we're going to kind of combine rhythms again. It's the same idea that we're doing in number 3, except we don't have the crunchy part. We're going 1, 2 triplet, 3, and 4 triplet. On beat 1 on this one on the 2nd measure, I'm actually playing the open 1st string just for a different sound. You could, if you wanted to, you could just keep that there and do it all the way through. Sometimes it's nice to hit an extra open string with this kind of thing where you can. Number 6, we're actually going to play something a little bit more complicated harmonically. We're going to have this 2-note descending idea, and it's going to be against the E that stays the same. So we've got the 5th fret on the 5th string, 4th fret on the 3rd string, and this is just going to descend down. So what we have here, 1, 2 triplet, 3, and 4 triplet. Now instead of just going, hitting those notes there, I'm actually doing a little hammer-on onto the major 3rd of the E chord, and I'm hitting the E string with my pick. So another one of these hybrid pick guys. 1, 2 triplet, 3, and 4 triplet, hammer-on. Number 7 is good for a slow blues, where the chords go 1, 4, 1, 5. 1. I'll go through that one more time. 1, 2 triplet, 3, 4 triplet, 1. It's kind of nice. It's just different. For number 8, we're going to do something with a lot of open strings in it, and it's going to have a little bit more of that dissonance in it, like we had in number 3. 1, 2 triplet, 3. 4 triplet, 1, 2 triplet. Right, with this one, hammering on the 1st fret on the 3rd string, and then playing the 2nd and 1st strings open, and then I'm hitting the 2nd fret on beat 3, and on beat 4, I'm going 3 on the 3rd string, 2 on the 2nd string, and then open on the 1st string. Play it all together, that's kind of an interesting sound, kind of dissonant. And then we're just ending with our 4th fret on the 3rd string, which is the B, and then the open E string together. And then we walk it up. I really like, on that one, hybrid picking. But if you want to, you can do it with a pick. You can experiment, however you want to try that. Number 9, 1. Little variation. We're doing a little bit of a pull off here. So I've got my 4th fret just like the very first one, but I'm going to pull off the 1st string to the open string and then back. 1, 2 triplet, and then the 3rd fret. And then this one we're going to hammer and pull both strings. Then we'll hammer on the 1st note as a grace note. 1. When you play it slow, it's a little dissonant and kind of weird, but when you're playing it at tempo, and when you're playing it at tempo with a full band, it actually sounds kind of cool. It's kind of different. So the last one here, and you hear this a lot in the Telecaster part on the intro jam, is one of my favorite things. I hear it on Jimmy Reed albums all the time. Right, so what we're doing is we're just going down a blues scale. We're starting on the E on the 2nd fret, 4th string. And we're going 1, 2 triplet, and then beat 3 is going to go 3 triplet, which is 2, and then open on the D string, and then 2 on the 5th string. So 1, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, and then 4 triplet is going to be 1 open on the 5th string, and then G So that right there, that gives us the flat 5 in the blues scale. 1, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Then we're going to hit that E that we started on again, and then walk up.